Good afternoon. Welcome to Wednesday night Bible class here at Beulah Baptist Church here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Broadcasting again this afternoon from the sanctuary here at our church. And again, I want to just welcome all our viewers all over who are here with us this afternoon watching us. Thank you always for watching, for all those who pass the word on, and for all of those who let people know about what we're doing here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And again, let me thank the tech squad here tonight who are with me, who making the broadcast live. Thank you again. I always want to start off by again thanking those who continue to support our church at a time like this. All the churches all over the nation, most churches, should I say, all over the nation, experiencing what we're going through, where we're not able to meet together on Sundays or throughout the week. But again, I want to thank the Beulah Knights and those who continue to support us financially through all of this. We've been taught about giving, and I can truly say that you continue to support this church. And I want to thank you from the depths of my heart. And by your support, we're able to continue to do what we do. By your support, we're able to help those in need. I often say, and I said it last week, that this is a time to give. For those of us who can give, this is the time to support those who may be a little less fortunate than we are. But I can't thank you enough for the way you continue to give and support the church, although you're not here. But this is just brick and mortar. We come in here to worship, but we leave out to serve. Still, every Monday, this church, and I'm so proud of this church, along with, again, the West Side Community Action Committee in Miracle Valley, we continue to pass out much-needed food boxes. Cars be lined up all down the street. But again, by your donation and your giving, and we have people who giving us and donating to us, not just members of this church, but throughout the nation, people are giving for this great cause again. But we're so happy that this church is able to stand up and support those in need. And I often say this, who knows when our time could be? It could be me, it could be you that's also standing in that line. Many of our own church members, people who go to church right here, receive those boxes. And again, I want to thank you for your giving, for your love offering, and also for your continued prayers that make it all possible. I want to thank our deacon board. Many of you all will be receiving phone calls. I have received phone calls. The deacons have been calling several of our members, those that we can get. We got some numbers we can't reach people. But again, just wanting people to know that we still love you and want to connect back with you. I can't tell you how badly we miss you, but I also can tell you at some point, at some time, we all will be back together again. And again, and that time's going to be when the Lord say so. But again, we want you to know we're thinking about you and we're loving you. And again, we continue to pray for you. I mentioned on Sunday that we will have communion. We will have communion the first Sunday in May. We'll have communion the first Sunday in May. And for those who would like to, this coming Friday from 5 to 7, Saturday, this coming Saturday from 11 to 1, and we'll repeat the same thing next week. If you like to come by the church during those times, the times you drop off your tithes and offering, and like to receive your little cup of juice and cracker, bread and wine, as we call it, we'll be able to give it to you at that time to take back home with you. Not to take it then, but to take it back home with you. If you do not receive your cup of juice or bread and wine from here, do not worry about it. All you need to do is at home have a piece of cracker and any kind of juice, and symbolically, we still going to have the Lord's Supper together. It's all symbolic. And so whether you pick up your cup from here or whether or not you just have a piece of cracker from at home, and that's how they used to do it in the old church anyway. They had a little Welch's grapefruit juice, and they had a little piece of cracker, and that's what we use. But we will be doing that. We will be doing that the first Sunday in May. We will have communion, and this is the time we'll have communion with all of our partners and all of our friends and all of our members, not just here in Tuscaloosa, but all over the world. We got people watching us even from Germany, and again, we'll be able to all have communion virtually together. So again, that'll be the first Sunday in May. You'll be able to come by this Friday from 5 to 7, or this Saturday, once again, as you drop off your tithes and offering from 11 to 1. So again, we're looking forward to being able to do that. Again, I want to talk briefly, as I often do, about the virus, the coronavirus. And again, I want to let you know that this virus is real. And again, I'm telling people to take it serious. And I know there's talk about and at some point we will open up our city, or whatever city you're living in, you'll be opening up your city pretty soon. They say to do some things. But even when that happens, I want you to use common sense. Use some common sense. You can never be too safe. There's still too much about this virus we do not know. So just because people tell you you're able to go out and do this and you're able to go out and do that, be cautious and be careful. And we have to assume that anybody and everybody that we're around has it. Just because someone is not sneezing, or just because they don't have a temperature, body chill, that does not mean they do not have it. There's something called asymptomatic, and that simply means when a person does not show any effects, any of the symptoms. And so a person could have no symptoms and still be a carrier. And so that's why we have to wear our masks, and that's the reason we have to continue to do the good hygiene thing, again, and keep your distance from other people, not be in groups of people. Avoid the barbecues and the fish fries and the house parties. Avoid all those things. This is a deadly disease, and innocently, you can take it back home and give it to your loved ones, to your children, or to your parents, or to your grandparents. So again, let's use some common sense, and let's use some caution, and let's keep all of ourselves safe. Again, the Lord gives us common sense, and again, and we want to use it. And we do not want to tempt him. God is still in charge. He's still in control. But again, he expects us to do the things that we need to do to keep ourselves safe. So again, I just want to remind you about that, and again, to help keep you and your family safe. Again, we're going to go ahead now and continue our lesson on last week. We did our Bible lesson, and we started talking a series about stress. And this week we'll continue that same dialogue as we talk about stress. And last week we talked about how stress is the body's reaction to any change that requires an adjustment or an response. Again, stress is the body's reaction to any changes that requires an adjustment or a response. Stress is normal. It is normal. I don't want to think that it's not normal. If someone say I'm stressful, that don't mean I'm abnormal, because stress is normal. There are some things, some stresses in our life that we can control, and there are some things we just cannot. This thing that we call the coronavirus or COVID-19, there's things about it we just cannot control. We can't control it. We can do all we can to work within what we have, but there are just some things we cannot control. And the virus is causing all kinds of stress in our lives. We talked about last week how divorce rates are up. We talked some about last week how violence is up. Parents now at home with their kids and not accustomed to that. Kids are usually at school this time of year, but now parents are at home trying to homeschool their kids. And not used to the daily interaction. So we're seeing more spouse, we're seeing more abuse by parents on the kids, and we're seeing more divorce rates of husband and wives are not used to being at home as much together. And so communication issues are there, and probably some things was already underlined there, but just the closeness now and the being in the shelter in place causing the divorce rate to go up. So there are all kinds of stress in our life. There's different kinds of stress. And stress can be good, and stress can be bad. Good stress, yeah, that's a thing called good stress. And good stress can help you accomplish tasks and be more efficient. And so many times we have deadlines at work and we have projects and things we have to accomplish, and we were under stress. And by working under stress, we're able to accomplish those things. Sometimes in sports, sometimes athletes, whether it's basketball or football, they find themselves on the big stages, and they find themselves in stressful situations. But those are the times that people can perform. A lot of people can perform and perform well under stressful situations. They can be more effective and they can be more efficient. So not all stress is bad. There are good stressors. There are many triggers for good stress that keeps us feeling alive and excited, like I say, about our lives. Sometimes, again, before big performances, whether you're a singer, again, or an athlete, you feel good about what you're going to do. You may have some stressors, but it also causes some excitement in your life. Now, there are different kinds and different forms of stress. There's one we call acute stress, and then there's this thing we call chronic stress. Acute stress is short in duration, and once the stressor has been dealt with, we will return to our pre-stress state. Again, an example of loss of a job. A person loses their job. They may be under a lot of stress at that particular time, some stress and some depression. And mainly we call that situational. But as soon as that person can get their job back, then that stressor will leave them, that particular one. And more than likely, even that part of that depression will leave them. We call that situational. So that's acute stress. It's short in duration, not long lasting. And once the stressor is removed, then that person can return right back to that which is normal. And a lot of people right now, when you look at the long lines of people trying to get food and the millions and millions and millions of people that right now are out of job, there is a lot of stress out there. And I often say that we who have jobs, oh, how blessed that we are. Again, we that have jobs, or we that have retired, or we that are at home and don't have to worry, and we that have food to eat, oh, how blessed we are. There are so many people, millions of people, right now tonight, don't know where the next meal is going to come from. So many people tonight don't know where the next bread going to come from. So many people don't know from the next paycheck going to come from. Right here in these United States. And then there's this thing called chronic stress. It's longer in duration. An example of chronic stress is like a chronic disease or some kind of chronic illness. Unfortunately, there are people who have chronic diseases or chronic illnesses that's more long-lasting. And chronic means that it is long-lasting. But whether you are going through acute or your stress may be chronic, it has to be dealt with. And again, that's not an option, but it has to be dealt with. There are also some psychological and emotional signs of this thing that we call stress. It causes depression, anxiety, anger, and irritability. You find yourself not being able to get along with people, and you find yourself not wanting to get out of bed, and Again, you might be real snappy. You might be on edge all the time. And that's not normal for you, but it's because of the stress that you may be under. Problem of being intimate with your significant other, and concentration problems, and making bad decisions. It may be a combination of all of it. You know, when people are under stress. When we talk about stress, I do want to briefly also talk about some myths that surrounds it. Remember, stress is real, and stress is normal, and it's a part of who we are and a part of what we do. But there are some myths that surround this thing that we call stress. One of the myths is that stress is the same for everyone. And stress is not the same for everyone. Stress is everywhere, no escape. Stress is always bad for you. Managing stress can be productive, no symptom, no stress. Only major symptoms require attention. Those are some myths. Stress is not the same for everyone. What stresses you out may not stress me out, and what stresses you may not stress me. And there are ways we can escape it. And although it's normal, there are things that we can do, and we'll talk about that later, we can do to help manage our stress. Someone say no symptoms, no stress. Not exactly. There are a lot of people who may not be showing no outward appearance of any stress, but inwardly. In fact, it's better that you have someone to talk to if you're going through some stressful moment. Find someone you can trust and share some things with someone. Some say if you tell others about being stressed, that's a sign of weakness. No, what may be a sign of weakness if you find somebody you can trust and you don't share it with them. Not a sign of weakness because you want to tell someone and sit down and talk to someone. There are professional people that you can talk to at times like that, and I always advise that. And everybody who says they can counsel you might not be the one that can counsel you. Some people really don't know how to counsel. And so you need to be careful, and I often say that even from the pulpit, we need to be careful who we seek, careful who we ask for advice. Everybody don't mean you well, and everybody don't know what to tell you. So we need to be careful about who we seek and how we seek advice. But being stressed and talking to someone is not a sign of weakness. So many times we don't want to go to the doctor. If I have to take a sidebar, so many times we don't want to go to the doctor, especially us men, because we feel that is a sign of weakness. That is not a sign of weakness. That is a sign that I want to take care of myself. That's a sign that I want to live. And the same thing about stress, because stress can kill you. Some people say if I'm stressful and if I go to a professional, if I go to my doctor, somebody, and they prescribe medication for me, then that's bad. No, that's not bad. And that's what medication is for. Medication is for to help us. And the Lord allowed man to create medication for us. When the Lord reached down on the ground and took the spittle and put it on the man's eye, that was medicine. You know, he could have healed the man without doing any of that. So just because you need medicine don't mean that you're weak, and don't mean that that's something that's bad. It just may mean you may need some medication. And most time for acute stressful situation, the medication it's just only temporary anyway. But if that's what you need and your doctor prescribes it, do not take other medication that other people give you. Just because the medication works for me, don't mean it's going to work for you. Prescribe medication for you, it does not mean it's the same medication that I need to take. We are all different, and medication reacts to all of our bodies different. And so making sure that the medication that you take is the medication that's prescribed by your primary care doctor. There are some healthy ways that we can deal, though, with stress. Number one, eat healthy, a healthy, well-balanced meal. I got a normal routine. There's some things I do as a creature of habit. And one of the things I eat every morning, I call it my power breakfast. I have a cup of blueberries and I have almonds, a couple of almonds, and I have some pecans, and I have some walnuts, and maybe some dry Cheerios or something, all in a little cup, and I shake it all together, and I call that my power breakfast. But I also know that I'm eating things that's high in antioxidants, things that's going to boost and help me with my immune system. And I say it all the time, that's one of the things that we have to do. We have to eat right. We have to eat our fruits. We have to eat our vegetables. We have to eat our nuts, things that's going to boost and improve our immune system. Because if it's not the coronavirus, and the coronavirus has been around, viruses have been around for a long time. If you look on the back of a Lysol can, it'll tell you that it kills most coronaviruses. So coronavirus has been around for a long time, maybe not this kind, not COVID-19, but the coronaviruses in general been around for a long time. And if it ain't the coronavirus, it's going to be other kind of viruses that come along, viruses or flu or whatever. And if you have a strong immune system, that don't mean you won't catch anything, but what it does mean, it might not do you as bad if you didn't have a strong immune system. So that's one of the things that we all want to do. And whether you're the pastor or whether you're a member, it does not matter. I have to work just as hard to keep myself as healthy as you have to work keeping yourself healthy. So one of the things we have to do is eat a well-balanced meal. And there's a lot of things I want to eat, but I know I should not eat. And so with that, we have to have some discipline when it comes down to eating our foods. We have to avoid drugs and alcohol. And probably a lot of folks say, if I take just a little sip of this, if I take just a little sip of that, it's going to make me feel good. But really, drugs and alcohol is a depressant. And you may have a temporary high, but you're going to at some point come down off that high. So we need to avoid drugs and avoid alcohol. But I know ain't none of you all out there drinking alcohol anyway. None of the people that I'm talking to tonight. I cannot imagine that's happening. Take a break. We got to learn how to take a break. You can't stay in the heat all the time. And even with the situation that's going on right now, we have to, as much as possible, live as much of a sheltered, normal life as possible. You got to take a break. You can't stay sheltered in place all day, 24/7. You cannot do that. You need to get out and walk up and down the street. Take a walk in the park. If you get through walking, you still can drive in your car around town and look at some of the sights. But you got to take a break. Turn the channel from, and I'm going to talk about the news in a few minutes, but turn and watch your classical movie. But take a break from just sitting in the house watching particular shows on TV, the news, and looking out of the window. Take a break and try to live as much of a normal life as you can. Recognize when you need more help and when you need some help. Nothing wrong with that. When you realize I need some help, don't be ashamed to ask for help. We must try to keep a positive attitude. Accept that there are going to be some things that we can't control. Be available for yourself and try to do some of the hobbies you like doing. And always maintain our faith. A positive attitude, I can't stress enough about that. A positive attitude may not make things better, but it's sure going to make me feel better about the way things are. keeping a positive attitude, knowing that this too shall pass. And I know it's going to pass because I'm going to keep and I'm going to maintain my faith. There are a lot of things that what we call triggers in our lives, that can trigger your stress. And one of the things we have to do is realize what those triggers are. What is that one thing or two things, or what are those things, people, place, a thing that sets me off? And like I say, it can be a person, it can be a place. What is it? What is that one thing or things that's going to stress me out? And whoever it is, avoid it. Whatever it is, try to avoid them. There are some people, and I often say there are some people that I know when they come around, they're going to be so negative. It's always chicken liver. The sky is falling. And those people I try my best to avoid. It's not that I do not like them, because I do. But I don't like negative. I don't like to hear negativity all the time. And negative people and hurt people will hurt other people. So I always want to try to surround myself with positive people who got a positive attitude about life. Yeah, we might be in it right now, and we might be tied up. But at some point, I got enough attitude, we're going to be out of all of this. I'm going to always keep the faith. We got to find ways to relax and find ways and things that works for you. More and more times I talk to people and they, Pastor Gay, I'm watching this and I watch the news. I mentioned this last week. We can, include myself, become obsessed with the news. And there are people who sit home all day long flipping the channel from Fox to CNN, MSNBC, or whatever else that network is, all day long. Leave the TV alone sometime. Cut it off or find you something else to watch. Cut it off and walk outside. If you catch the news in the morning, chances are at 12 it's the same thing. Chances are at night it's just a recap of what you've already heard all day long. But don't sit in front of the TV all day long, counting the numbers in each city and each state. Don't do that. Find ways to relax. Find ways, again, try to live as normal of a life as you can. Remembering what works for other folks may not work for you. Things we should not do other than watch TV, do not isolate yourself. Try to at least pick the phone up and call and be social and check on other people. Don't overeat and overdrink. So many people say, now I'm gaining weight because I'm sheltered in place. I can't go out nowhere. I can't do that. So I'm just staying in the house and I'm just eating and I'm just drinking. I was listening to one person who got one of the workout videos and saying what they do is every time a commercial come up, they get up and start exercising. We have to be creative during these times, but do not sit in the house and eat from sun up to sundown. Do not do that. So we got to find ways to get out and do our own exercise. We can do exercises right in your own house. Do not isolate yourself. Do not ignore personal things that's going on with you. And again and again and again, do not dwell on the negative. Do not dwell on the negative. Really, we can take advantage. I truly believe this, that there is going to be a lot of good that come out of all this confusion and all of this pandemic. I truly believe that some good is going to come out of it, and we have to be able to see the good. We have to be able to see the good. What a better time now to be at home, to get to know your family better. What better time to be at home to get to know your children together? What better time to be at home to pray together? And I sincerely believe a family that prays together is a family that stays together. And they don't have to be in the same room with you to pray for you. You can call them, you can Skype, you can Zoom. There's so many ways you can pray with your family members. I pray every morning. I often tell the Beulah, I pray every morning if I'm home with my family. I call my daughter, Whitney, in the morning. I pray for her. I tell her to pray for me. I call my son. I can pray for him or he can pray for me. So there are ways we still can communicate. And even if it wasn't no virus, a family that prays together is a family that stays together. We need to be prayerful. And what a better time to get back with the family. What a better time to get to know the Lord. What a better time to spend some quiet moments with the Lord. The malls are now closed. A lot of the restaurants are now closed. And so we have all this time at home. What a better time to just steal away and have some quiet moments. Just you and the Lord. And you're going to be surprised. You're going to be surprised how the Lord going to strengthen you. You're going to be surprised how your faith going to be strengthened, how the Lord will increase your faith when we learn to just spend some time with him. We spend time doing everything else. But we've got to learn right now, and what a wonderful, and what could be a better time than right now taking time out, spending some quiet moments with the Lord. Don't be concerned about what other folks going to say about you. You do what's best for you, and you do what's best for your family. This thing that we call stress is not going to go away anytime soon. And I implore you to do the thing that is going to take to help you and to help your family make it through. I'm getting ready to end right now, but we'll be able to pick up again next week as we'll continue to talk about stress and ways we can better deal with stress. I often say that what's happening right now is no secret. The Lord knew that the pandemic was coming along. The Lord knew about all of us being able to shelter in place. And as I truly believe, you got to stay tuned for the rest of this story. God is not through. God is still in charge. And God has a plan. And all that we don't understand, just keep living. We're going to understand it all better by and by. But you'll be able to see the good. Again, as always, before I end the broadcast, I want to have a prayer with you and for your family. And again, if there's someone here tonight who's listening to me, who's interested in becoming a member, interested in giving your life to Christ, you can do it from wherever you're at. 205-758-9560. Call us, and we'll have someone right there to get in touch with you. Again, that's 205-758-9560 for those who want to give their life to Christ, or those who want to unite with us. I'll be glad to call you and glad to talk to you. With that, let us bow our heads from wherever we're at, and let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you again for this day and all of our many rich blessings. We thank you, Lord, for keeping us safe thus far, Lord. We thank you for being able to protect us from all hurt, harm, and danger. Now, Lord, continue to go with us. Lord, continue to keep us safe. Lord, I know what you can do, and Lord, I know what you will do, and we all stand in agreement that everything is going to be all right. God bless you again, and God keep you is my prayer.